Saturday, no injuries to report, and the latest on Andres Christensen and N'Golo Kante, will they be available for the game?
Christensen's available and N'Golo unfortunately isn't. His hamstring's not ready. So they're the ones of note.
1 second, Jamie. I'm just going to try and affect his camera. It's not on the laptop. Tom, do you want to just quick minute? I think I just need to switch on. Start video button there. There you go, Jamie. That should be up and running. Do you want to continue from there?
Yeah, thanks. Just secondly, Frank, on Fikayo Tomori, a year ago he was a regular starter for you. When did it start to go wrong from Chelsea, and why? Why has he fallen down the pecking order?
I don't think there's any when did it start to go wrong. Fikayo's a developing player. As a team, as a squad, we had 4 centre-backs last year. I can't play 4 in one game. And you try and find consistency at different times. At one point, Fikayo was in that. And then later on, not so much. And then this year, we have 5 centre-backs. So the predicament is difficult for centre-backs that are not playing regularly. And that's why he may go out on loan for his development. As I say, as a young player, his development has been a huge rise in the last 2 or so seasons since I've been working with him. And that will continue, and we'll find the best path for that.
The reports are that it's with an obligation to buy to AC Milan. But from what you're telling me, I assume you'd like him to return.
We haven't got any. There is no detail on what those reports I've read as well, but they're not to be confirmed.
Okay, thanks very much, Frank.
Thank you.
Emma Saunders.
Hi, Frank.
Hi.
You talked about the confidence levels perhaps lacking a bit in some of your forward players. Now, Mason Mount doesn't look like a player that's lacking in that department at all, especially not against Fulham. I just wondered how much you think his performances can help raise the confidence in those other players around him who are perhaps not hitting their full potential at the moment.
Yeah, certainly it can help because you can see that Mason's playing with confidence, hence his 2 goals in the last 2 games, but his general play is really good. I keep talking about him a lot and since the weekend, and I think his work ethic in training is one of those reasons, the way he keeps his standards high every day. So I think there are things that other players can look at with Mason. And at the same time, it's clear when you're in a difficult patch individually or collectively, you have to fight and play your way out of it. So you rely on players around you doing their job. Mason's doing it at the minute, but we've got lots of players like that in forward areas. We just need a kickstart from them. We need to see some numbers, some production from the front end of the pitch. You look around the Premier League and you see teams that are being successful generally or in good runs have people at the top end of the pitch that are firing and scoring and assisting. And we've been a bit short on that recently, but it will come back. It will come back. The players have to fight their way through those little periods or patches. And at the moment, Mason is a good example of someone that's always fighting and he's playing really well.
Looking ahead to this game against Leicester City, I just wondered where you think Leicester are in this title race and just how open you think it is in general.
Yeah, I mean, they're in it for sure. The way they're playing, the results they're getting, their position in the league, it's clear. It's the same as last season. We managed to get above Leicester at the back end of the season, but it was a big ask for us because they're a very good team with very good individuals. We know that, and a really good manager, a really good coach in Brendan. So they're in the race. There are others that are in the race. We have to not consider too much the race as it stands at the minute, and consider ourselves. Consider, can we get a result against Leicester, who are a competitor up there, and then see, can we get wins together that will propel us back up to where we want to be. But the race is relatively open, especially in comparison probably to recent years, I suppose.
Just finally from me, going back to these confidence levels, what would a win do against Leicester for those levels within the squad and the feeling in the camp?
Yeah, it would help. It would certainly help because Leicester are a quality team who are getting results, as I just said. So it would help. But we're not the only team in that position. You look around at top teams, examples yesterday of teams that come off it a bit, or certain elements or parts of the team are not firing. And it's hard to win games in this league. So I don't want to lean too much on our own confidence. It's a part of the picture at the moment. But for me, the work ethic and the team really being focused is just as important as the confidence, because the quality in the team is there, the potential is there, and it will be unlocked. It's just making sure for a tough moment that we do all the right things to get it back from where it may have been.
John Southwood, BBC 5 Live.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, John.
On Leicester, their form this season suggests that actually you're possibly better playing them away from home.
I don't know. I think, maybe on form. I don't think form or those sort of things directly relate. Sometimes it's type of teams that want to have possession, want to counter-attack, want to sit deep. And I think Leicester and in Brendan, they have capability to do both as a team. So I'm not considering that too much.
I know you spoke about Timo Werner after the game on Saturday, and you said there are things you could do to help him. I mean, is it purely down to confidence with him, and what can you do to kind of help him find the form that he's in there?
We'll speak with him, manage him in that sense, and manage him on the training pitch, because that's where little periods like this always turn around. It's something I experienced a lot in my career, something that all players will experience in their careers in their own ways. When you are a top player, as Timo's shown that he is, all eyes are on and it becomes magnified. But the basics are the same, and that's what my job is to tell him that and work with him on it.
Moose. Unmute yourself, Moose, and away you go.
Hi Frank, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I just want to follow on about Timo Werner. I mean, I've covered Chelsea long enough and you played for them long enough to have seen strikers arrive or forward attacking players arrive with really big reputations, the likes of Torres, likes of Morata. What is it about not only Chelsea but a lot of clubs whereby it can be really difficult if you absolutely don't hit the ground running and you get into a rut to end up being labelled as somebody who is not a success at a club?
Well, first of all, I don't want to compare him to anybody, because I think if we just narrowly compare him to some Chelsea signings, I think it would be the wrong way. Everybody's story is different. Fernando Torres had difficult times here, but came away winning the Champions League and being a pivotal player in our run to winning the Champions League. So I don't think you should compare too much. All we need to do here at the moment, Timo and myself and teammates around him, is to create the best environment to get the best out of Timo, which means firstly himself working hard, as I say, any striker who knows. And when you see the chance he misses the other day, that's just repetition on a training ground. Everyone will go through those patches, whether you repeat it 1,000 times or not. But when you are in that moment, you must repeat and keep working. And then he also needs support and help around him, and he needs to keep his head down and focus. And my job is to support around him and give him positivity and confidence, because Timo Werner didn't by chance score the amount of goals over the last few years that he scored. He scored those goals because of his huge talent. A tough time for him here at the moment is a small period in what I believe will be a fantastic career from him going forward at Chelsea. I've got no doubts about that, and I hope people around it can also see it that way.
And one more on Mason Mount. I mean, obviously, I saw him with you at Derby. I followed his career with Chelsea in England. I don't think he's let anybody down, either at Derby, with Chelsea or with England, yet does seem to have some critics. Are they just jealous of him and his talent and his enthusiasm?
I'm not sure what they are, if they are his critics. I'm not sure how anybody could really criticise him of late. I felt it last year. Last year Mason was playing regularly for us, and I felt some of the critics in the modern world, it's really easy to hear them. Even if you don't use social media, you lot ask me about it all the time. And I think I mentioned it before, and Mason's the type of midfield player is that he does so much great work for the team off the ball, which I think maybe for the naked eye is not as exciting as a overhead kick or a treble step over. He does all those basics well. He moves the ball so quickly. He's a great teammate. We've seen recently he scores goals, he finds assists, he does all those things. So I don't think it matters if people are critical in any way. And one thing he has got as well, Moose, is a really great attitude. He has a real great way of just not seeming like he's ever perturbed by what may be critics outside. The critics are wrong. There's no doubt about that. Anyone who understands or knows football and watches Mason Mount play understands what an incredible talent he is. Just turned 22. Imagine when he's 25. Imagine when he's 27. So the critics don't matter when it comes to Mason.
Finally, one on Brendan, someone you know well. Always enjoyable when we take on someone who's a friend.
Yeah, it is, and Brendan's a gentleman, and he's a good friend. Was very helpful to me in my career here as a player. He's probably working more in the academy, but whenever he came over, it was very clear and evident that he was going to become a great coach in his own right, and he's gone on to do that. I think the jobs he's done at all his clubs have been really, really impressive, particularly of the success he's having of late in the last few years. So, yeah, I enjoy going up against him. He's difficult to go up against because he's a really good coach and he's got good players. But at the same time, I'll have respect for Brendan no matter what. We'll have a tough battle and then shake hands. Well, not shake hands, sorry, we'll fist pump.
Nick Purewall.
Hi Frank. You said obviously forget the title race. That's just effectively league table for the minute. Completely understand that. Can you get yourselves back into it? And just on the wider situation for January. Obviously we've seen a loan for Danny today, and talk. Fekir's bit situation's been much talked about. Do you need people to leave to bring people in? Is that a part of the equation for the transfer window?
Again, the reason I say about the title race, I don't want to go that far, so it doesn't matter to say whether we can get back in it or not. At the moment, we just need to consider the games in front of us and try and win them and try and push ourselves steadily up the table. We're not in a bad position. We've had a bad short period of form. If we can put wins together this month, then the picture will change, as it's changed very quickly already this year in so many ways. So that's my point on that one. In terms of players, I think it's great for Danny to leave to go and play for himself as much as anybody, to go and try and get some games for himself. Fikayo, we'll see. I'm not considering about getting players out to bring in at this point. I'm trying to make sure that the balance of the squad we have here is right, and if there are players that move on and that's beneficial for them as well as for our squad, then that's a positive.